Hello everyone, my name is Marika.
Marika.
So this afternoon we're going to do an activity where we look at how the body adapts itself and specifically how the eye adapts itself.
다른 연구자는 아주 제고제야죠. 제고제야디 류비기 아니 고유라 뜸베 고유라 템베 뚱주 간이 제기도. 이 나로네 류비 자세 나로네 믹스가네 미키 아니 고유 민다와라 뚱주 간이 제기도 스타일에.
So for this, I will need from every group of 4, I will need one volunteer.
이 돈달라. 나도디 니 시리시리기 루카야 열와. 열베.
Can you put up your hands?
미 난데 단다 미 시리시리 루카 열와. 단다 슈그서디 루카 이지미지 쇼에 말와. 오래. They have they have a group of 4, but they have not necessarily set in their. 야, 준나 루카 소소 냠도 쇼로는다. This one, then 루카 소소 나로네 미직기 당나체 난다 디나로라 무슨 차실래야 당나체 오레스. 야나 그나버스 나로네 루루체니 거기네 거라나스 미직이 가서 단다 리시디나 무슨 차실래야체 아무도 다 돼야 돼. 야, 나무도 좀 내가 열었다.
Okay. So how many do we?
오야, 차지 생긴 차지하러나. 얼마 열나 미지기. 제니, 야, 얼마 되는 수인 봐. 괜찮지? 라, 직매. 결선. 템바.
Yep. So they're the stars.
Yeah, tadinalone jingme temba tashi topgel.
They're going to be wearing a patch. They're going to be like a pirate today.
Pirates labdi 먼저 초대되기 소나 노두갈라 안에 다니 코란 전에다 소자 소는 잡아야겠는데. 이거 그래서 미직간이 오는데 근데
Yeah, no, yeah.
근데 이제 믹지가 그래. 네가 먹어봐도. 네 돌아라고 뭐다. 믹지. 다 단단하게 그래. They have to start wearing. They have to start wearing it.
They have to start wearing it.
Yeah,
right
start wearing it now. And
단단하게 교육도. 단단하게 망교는 교육은 니부통으로 와. 단단하게 믹지 값가 샤오래.
just one eye.
믹지.
Both eyes? Okay.
니부통이야. 개봐요. 쉬고.
Okay. So, thank you. Now I'm going to explain why we do this.
당연히 제약이 균제다 따지기 제림디.
So, there is a story that pirates, they wear eye patches so that when they come out of the dark, they've been inside the ship, when they come out of the dark and they have to attack the enemy, that they can do so really quickly because their eye has already adapted to the dark. Because normally you cannot see very well with your eyes when it's been in the light and you suddenly come in the dark.
They have to come out of the dark or
no, they go into the, sorry, they go into the dark, yeah.
Yes. 제니 안다 남주된데 로주지어레스. 당연히 초나라 네 이지민지 소자 있나요? 양 초나 주리 무대제 내가 제공되는 인사래. 제 남주 바이러스 그래. 그저 아니 당분에 이미 깎고 시작했어. 당분에 깎네. 7월 이만 내가 지기로 와. 이만 내가 지도네 당분에 미 뛰면에 깎고 시작했어. 깎고서는 가지 열었으나 톱 깎는 주생 나로 치 나게 딩딩은 치 나오긴 로고나. 미치 나오는 따야 가지 예버렸어. 그러면 가미나 여되게 이만 여되게 돈도 말아 가도
Okay, so we're going to do this, turn this into an experiment. So the first thing before we're going to turn this into an experiment is we have to have a hypothesis.
디들이 인도 멘도 이들이 인사에서 따주제 지지거로 와. 저봐 최시 최샤지랑 랑으로 와.
So what could be a hypothesis in this situation, like when you're wearing a patch, then and you come in a dark place.
Tata azu mi dos kamne tambone mi kau chene ni me kili ne mi kau chene yungo arwas ta na gun da usikil rowe na rowe kablo dinde chebe di gari phengre gari chigre samsam jigi chosha gari chigi yoris dikaba digi na gun rogo chungna ani gari yungre sin chosha chigi yoris lamna oh this is not so
groups can discuss
but yeah, that they will be able to readily see when they are in the dark.
Right. Yeah, they will be ready. Yeah. So we thought of a way that we can actually test this hypothesis, which is that we will go to a dark room over there.
nga zo chosha da langi yore six na tenden di pento chig samgo yore ta nga zo ngshi ti ta ja ga ros a ka ba na go chig la do res ta ka do ne indu do ne ka do
and so then we're going to put all kinds of obstacles and they have to the person with the patch or without the patch has to go through the obstacles.
So these are all the volunteers, right?
The volunteer, yeah, all the volunteers.
Then they mi du even no ne ni mi kap sha wa mi shi ba shimba sumlaiwa shimba sumbudeang danda tanglan kudu nyamdo rore ka rosna kaman na guna rola an jose ta kubja ta karikari shai me hagumda karikari hagumda chochimbo ne kari ne mana tadi ke rore den rore kapgen digi mi kapgen digi pagina ro mi di che magam gen di zo dangmon mi dangna ro ka zo tanji me na tanji ro ta.
And then we can measure how long does it take people with a patch and without a patch to go through these obstacles. Yeah, and they take off the patch when they enter the room, of course.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Jenny, any Pagina do they come young against the Pagina do you come go Dramata? A chendor, Mixi, then no Chino Tasara. The check. It's about to make Tamun Chesero. And some is Dramata. Chesendora. Then now do you go la? Now do you go Dichala, Damin Shashaiwa? Jenny make Dinguel a cup gained down. Did you go Dinguel Maga Winigagi? To do has to go to Tare. Did you know? Dora, do you any to do has to go to Rosendel? Rosendel lady.
So this is the basic idea is that you're going to see a bit better if your eyes have adjusted to the dark. So how would that work? Do you remember anything about your eye and your vision and how it adapts to the dark?
Those who have had the patches would be able to go quicker and be able to find the way easier because their eye with the patch is already very readily adapted to the dark. Can this adapt to it?
Diniga ni ta karsewa jodo jala ni this titsungol gra ta kapshagi to ko titsukengol mana do shama ta do shapatu.
Okay, he has this understanding that somewhere down the line the process involves switching back between the cones and rods, and thus that switching would not need to take that long with the patches on. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Very good.
아니 보게 나군리도 자 제올로 와. 그이 제올로 한테 주지다 고고 말이스. 버저지디 아니 당문 저리예요 그랬어.
Because your eyes have to do this all the time, right? You go in and out of the dark. So imagine if you just had one kind of receptor that needed bright light, every time you went into the shade, you wouldn't see very well.
Then Ling answered Namju, Nileso, Horanala, the Trepung, the Nibudi, Casore, Lagadi, Lore, Kaduni Chigi, Sane, Anna, Winsin, Awis, and the Kaduni Chigi. Today is a Tapina, Dodi, Kavla, Sorshi chair, you can get Trepung, the Lagachita Cheriaros. Tagara, Mula, and I will hope to do, could you Lagacheti? 아니 소롱에 심부여 마도 나 울 총에 여마와 그래서 콘줄 내가 무튼이 제된 콘줄 되는데 백감을 기도 딱 콘줄 제도 말이지 나군길 콘줄 제 탑라 아니 나 울 소롱에 심부지긴 게 저봉디기 내가 채우랬어 딱 코시네 영화 거는 거 말이지
So you have receptors that see color and see very well in brighter light, but then you have a second kind of receptor that sees in grays and in very dim light.
Yes.
So you have two kinds of receptors, right? Ones that see in brighter light and see colors and all the good things you see in bright light. The cones? Yes, the cones, thank you. And then you have the rods that are not seeing color that well, but see in shades of gray and see in very, very dim light.
제니 나나 미기 통소의 대회 아니 내렘바 통소의 대회 내렘바데 유입 처봉다 뉴입 처봉 봐 제니 콘스 랍디 뉴입 처봉데서 어 쳇었다 아니 촌도 땅땅 쳇었다 되돌라 총에 좀 요레스 다양 유입 로드 봐 유베이 입쟁기 아니 처봉데 통소의 대회 처봉데 양 또서 촌당 자체부 매버다 왜또 충주예보다 하바도 저 시라 뉴뉴뉴뉴전 딤전인데 왜 시라 마오에서 안고 총에 쳐요 그랬어 디 이만에 아주 수시 마 대시 견심 나는 되요 그랬어
So if you are a pirate and you wear a patch, what kind of receptors would be most active in the patched eye?
किसी नंबर सो पायलट दिमेचे ता सोजा चेने रो न सोजा एना यान सोल ड्यूरिंग बो लेगा चेन देगे दिमेचे इमिजे जाकोला 이 말에 제니 ताको 미지 깜깜 샤이로 와 깜깜 샤샤 이두가 깜깜 샤시도 나고는 차대로 이제 콘소 나고시다 간 여대 깜라 미티 기기 미티 나로기 아니 저분 차샤베나 유입 저분디 가서래 중부진 대열에 융입 저봉데 중부진 대열 있었나? 유베이진 들어와. 유베이진. rod.
Very good. Yeah. So then when you come to the dim lighting conditions, the dark room, that eye can probably see a lot better, right?
근데 이제 그 깜깜이 나운진이 위에서 그 따야 탑시 제야 되기 되기 나오는 총에 여기인데 유이 저봉이 인자 안 나군 게는 뭐네 레벨값을 꼭 같이 연디 그래가 제조져야 와.
Yeah, because it takes time for the rods to get activated otherwise.
게마도 심바 뒤도 먹으러 와. 약간 의에서네 의면서도디 당기 의에서 갑돌 총에 이어 되기 저봉디기 찹디 다 뉴뉴다 촌다 매겐라 아니 총에 요겐기 저봉도 내가 제고도 거기도 영화나 또 거로 그랬어.
Okay, so we thought of the following experiment that we need your help with to test this out.
당어도 네 따제 제이나 이미디로 근데 저봐 지게 저봐 제분에 신 따제란 나다 카타고도 따야라 따제 그림되네 있어.
So we're going to go to a dark room in the building over there.
아주 강반 나오질 루이스.
And then the idea is that there will be one person who comes through the door and has to go through and follow some route to get to the second person.
So the second person will be already there?
The second person is there because he will be measuring the time.
Okay. 제니 미치 당분간에 방난 주사도 주인인데 타고사. 어디 디메게는 그래. 아니 제바지 미치 드네시는 누구레스. 돈에 코도 그 랑과 하는 로그는 도제 거리jem 도제 Chala damda yor duskor jam doje page minima tal lebures lebdi page minima digi tuzuka ayares.
So we can make some obstacles with chairs and tables to have the person go through to reach this person.
Any lamga dosa lamga di pasu kasore chala da ne chu ne ka ne ani dosa di pet ngejen do jil mado dosa me ke kanju mujun don page lesa me de sures tede je betone ani page lebdi tuzuka ayares.
And then we can measure how long it takes this person to go through this route.
Jani me digi tuzuka zu go yi me de ka ayares.
Right, yeah, and so all of you have to decide on how to put together this route with chairs and tables and whatever we can find in the room.
Oh, lamga shene soya shanga don lamga soyur.
So you have to make it a real challenge.
Oh, kale kamo sogur das. Lamga kana zo hadu budu chen lamga sogar da.
So that it will be quite difficult to do if your eyes are not used to the dark.
Jene kal chene lamga sodan de tos jig mik nagungi la ni kasore komdi temege jina ndo khase chige sogres.
And then of course we have to measure time, right?
So where will the others be? In the room outside?
Outside.
Outside.
And also the volunteers stay behind. Let's
Yeah.
say,
Yes.
so the volunteers don't see the course before they come to the room.
But so this will not be one of the volunteers?
The 7 volunteers, they will stay behind.
Okay.
They will stay
They
outside.
will stay outside and you will tell us when it's ready, and then one by one they will
Come
come,
in.
into the room. And everybody will be outside of the room except
Okay.
those person 1, person 2.
Okay.
We also need to identify.
Yeah.
Okay, the person 1 and 2 you have to identify separately.
Yeah.
Yeah, just have them volunteer.
So that's not among the 7 volunteers? Okay. Ngebudu da. Nanzu chilo debudu nanglo do da. Tende lelo mi do. Chen nganzu chilo de. Tisam mo danda de mi di wa. Mi de mu de chilo de usha. Ta dene tambo mi tambo da mi ni ba ni di mi de mu de mayimba. Shimba ni kogudu. So the first the person 1 and person 2 is outside of this.
No, person 1. Yeah, outside of that group.
Okay, outside of that group. Okay. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Person 1 and person 2, the one who is going, oh, Honda. Mi tambo da mi ni wa che, nanglo do ge wa. Di tambo ni wa ni di mi timbut na mi do shiba ni ko ge sare.
So person 1 is going to conduct the person inside with, if they're wearing a patch, with the patch on.
Yeah.
And take the patch off.
When they
I
get
see.
into the
So the
door.
person
The
1,
door is closed.
so the person 1 doesn't go.
No,
Person
no,
one stays
just
here,
stays here.
second stays
Just takes off the patch.
Okay. Mi tambo da mi ni wa inda ro. Mi tambo da mi ni wa ni timbut na mi do. Mi tambo de shuer sha. Ya shang ni shuer sha. Ni ni wa de shuer che. Mi tambo chale de khare na dene ni khasore mi ge gyo ni yong ge shor ba. Mi ge gyo ni yong ge di mi di chu the sha. Mi dal se sha.
And then this person, person 2, has a stopwatch.
Ah, de ni wa de la wa la di chu 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 ka di ro la wa.
And they have to measure the time.
Che
Person 1 says go.
go.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Mi tambo de di ko. Du tang shi mujawan de.
Yeah, so when he takes, yeah. And then when the person with the blindfold went, or who without the patch by that time, the person who had entered, when they reach person 2, they touch them, and then person 2 presses the stopwatch again, so we know the end time. So we know the start and then the end.
Oh, so how would this so how would the person 2 know when it has started?
So person 1 will say start,
Okay, then
when they start, and then he presses. Yeah.
mi tambo de la ga da. Ya, gozu jo la go la da ta chen gozu. I mean, you la de de ya sa de. You la de bu je de pa ke tak chen gozu. Na go do de pa le da tak chen pa le du ko tu che. Le begin di. Le da sin jo ja shi da pa ke tu ka ya.
Yeah, and then of course person 2 has to tell the person maybe outside who takes notes to write down the time and write down the name of the person who just went in. So we have those as well. Yeah.
제니 디 나는 왜 레라면도 당번에 토접 신마도 레라 두문도 토접 아니 밖에 뒤져다 제가 간가 까고도 So the timing, okay, he has to
shout it out, and
Yeah.
then this person in the light can write it out.
because
up.
otherwise he will have to again readjust it, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then 내 미니버디 주도 강에 지나 주도 강에 주도 까 사보다. 아로 주도 내려도 셀라고도아. 말나 porque 토크 말아. 한 코야 미니버디야 주도 까고라. 어디들이야. 쟤는 미직 내 중이진 대야지. 다 미스 뭐지 거도아. So we need three
volunteers
outside
yeah.
of 7. One is
Yeah.
중이다.
Writing,
당분도
yeah.
중이제. 네 중이라제. 네 무리하게겐제. 네 파게 토크겐제. 편에 게 제지 안기 지우다. 오야. 많이 시시서래.
Okay, and then everyone else will be volunteers for building this obstacle course.
남도 신발 강가라에 다나 내가도 가르쳐말해. 람가서고도. 오야.
And after that, we come back here and we analyze the data.
then 파게 that way we will let all the 4
Yeah.
to go.
Of all the 8. So
All the 8.
all the 7. Yeah.
All the 7.
7. Yeah.
Okay. 당랑 병가라 나로 줘야 그거라고도. 내가 보면 당랑 병에서 강가를 거기도. 네 갑긴 남아게 강가라. 갑긴 남아게 강가라. 뒤도 가야지. 두부디. 저는 나도 수요. 아니 더 로제 아니 가르쳐서냐 가서 냠조셔야지.
Okay.
Yeah. So we need to identify who is person 1, person 2,
1, 2, 3.
person
Yeah.
3.
Yeah.
Person 1 who pushes in, who wants to be.
Oi, bukan yang itu imba. Wow,
Yeah,
good. Dia yang yeah, person 1.
Yeah, person
Do you need
one.
to name? Do you need a name? Maybe not.
Yeah. No,
Person
just
tambah
remember.
je. Tapi
Yeah.
person tambah game je.
Yeah.
Dia yang ini.
And then
Ni mana?
stopwatch. Yeah.
Ni mana? Cuci kaya dah. Oh, dah.
Person 3
Yeah.
takes the notes.
Yeah, semua. Okay, 중이라. Here we have
Should
person
I
3.
give him the paper?
ngazu tal ngazu lam ga sungene do.
Okay. Then right, yeah, so the 7 have to stay outside the building. Yeah.
Okay. Tadi tangan dongeng dui wa. Tangan dongeng dui ni ngazu nyam de phe mayon la. ngazu nge namu se phesa ke di phela so la. Nge phela so la kena de aja khong da la. Daniel la. aja khong Daniel la. khong ni shuru la.
용역 보이는 남직 가도 뜻 오게 있어.
가는 곳은 가와 삼착이 봐. 가는 곳은 가는 곳인 봐.
가시.
버드드 자데. 이상. 이가 통해 버데 되게 One.
You can take over pen.
Donda sela masera dinde ka dinde yib do chiku ani ngazu chala do ina ti khara ge yib do de samni nyu thamala dire do odi kita da khod di laga chibo
아니 요요 잡아요. 요요 잡아도 카드 안 되더라고요.
ai nama
Okay. Do we have all the patches back, or is there still someone floating around?
ngazu niktar chasan sunna ba. Yeah, I think.
Okay.
With all
Good.
of it.
So now we have to think about, see what our results are for the experiment.
당어도 좀 내가 따고.
So what was our prediction? What was our hypothesis? Does
ngazu
any-
최샤가래. 미야 통으로 해서 봐. 나고 값이하고 내가 통으로 했어. 당어도 최샤나시 좀 됐다긴다.
So we had patch and no patch, right? And this
네.
is time in seconds.
네 미그레 예봐. 미그레 매바체. 네 뒤즈체. 네 까차나 지금 뒤즈.
So what do you predict what we'll see?
나부터 쳐봐시나. 미리 예배다 내면 개발 가정샷. The pirates were much faster.
Much faster, yeah.
Yeah, the
Okay,
pirates
let's-
were much faster.
Let's see. So I have the times here. So Jigme took 11 seconds.
직맥이
And Jigme was a patch.
직맥 là 미리 요레스. 같이 죽지 못한 거면도스.
Then Gelsang was 1 minute 40 seconds, so that is 100 seconds, right? And he was no patch.
Yeah. The gasangi second 같이 자. 까만지. 뭐? 같이 자고르다. 지 죽는 거면도 밖에 자.
And
that's you.
then we had Tempa, he was 10 seconds and he wore a patch.
tempo second 죽는 거면서 미래 경계들에서 second 주 같이 주.
Okay, Zonam took 1 minute 32 seconds, so that's 92 seconds.
선영기 같이 고주거니. 온요 숨.
Okay, Tashi wore a patch and he was 10 seconds.
다시 second 같이 주면 거면서.
Kedup did not wear a patch and he was 49 seconds.
걔도 때 간제네 그게 역대로 된다. He must have a secret.
Top Gal wore a patch and he took 12 seconds.
또제까지 중인 것이야.
Okay. Wow.
That's it. 개발 쉬도와. 할래 개발도.
So what was our prediction? Was that correct?
아주 저봐 재우는 신 저봐 다다 대소. Yeah, that was correct.
That's pretty amazing, right? So
Yeah,
we see
very
the
big gap.
yeah.
개발 전부도 왔어.
Yeah. So what can we conclude from here about wearing a patch? Is it a good idea for a pirate to wear a patch?
디지털 니마기 소자서 미달 거야디 정부 정도 왔어. Yeah, they were smart.
Right. So what we always do with experiments is, well, we set a hypothesis, then we devise a method. We did with the dark room. Then we run the experiment, and then we draw conclusions, and then we think about, are there other explanations for our results, or are there things we could do better in the experiment?
전에 아주 남주 세리 기타제 도단디 당분간 소시하지나 어디 전에 중도 하오레스나 난 중국도 민도기 무시 라렌타레기 따제기 탐남티 라 따제 탐남티 아니 디 따제 디비쇼고 아니 데네 좀제 가리 동구도 때제 디지 안기다 체다 데렉 람네 안카 가리 다고도 때 다도 따제 아니 좀당 돌라 삼식 체제 지 야제 땅과 가르도 간데체나 사비도서스체네 때 두신 때 인데르파 데데 연구에 준전 가르서 다 준전제레스 두신 데나 연구도 왔어 연구에 준전 가인도 신 준전제
Okay, so we would like you to go into your groups and think about these questions. Are there other explanations for the pattern of results we have there? And are there ways in which you would improve the experiment to make it more reliable or more precise?
제네다 나머지 당기 루카 수수수 나오는 페이지 아니 주도 나오나스 디데 연구에 준제 가리로 스터디 용용이 버티 당기 초바 제원의 시라 트브로 라트브인데 다디 무시 연구에 준제 삼시전에 가르진 인고 가르진이 인고레스 전대시 자지다 다지디 양조직 될래 차 담으로 해도 양은 피타르다는 근데 개도에스 근데 갈소래 어레 다동 그 다지디 양조 전에 아니 제 거야 여러분 아니 제베이나 야 좀데라 민나는 개발 연구를 왜 대단 제역이 아니 되게 양 지고심 만나야도 와 디카 지고든데 콜레 주도나로 나서 네 선발 지고직디 디 규링도 되게랬어 상기직이 치료 수주도 버스 미카야 고주나 konta pengi res. Dende jiwa tiso, dende jiwa mo yero. An jiwa di tin des. Jeni ruga fece tudunaru nas.
5 minutes.
Come on.
Yeah.
Usually women.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive actually.
Maybe the other thing we want to underscore is this shows the power of adaptation,
Yeah.
right? It makes a huge.
Oh yeah. Yes.
Okay, so what did you guys find?
Oh yeah. Number two. 그래. Number two 나올라. 가리 중에서 가리 쉬어야 여러분들이 이래.
저 단다라. 단다 딘디 제바 친구 여버도 가서 무슨 줘봐. 다들 가리 전에 용발을 라줘라. 다들 가서 갈라이스너라. 밑직 깝네니 저런 샤라. 되게 가리 제반 로셔서는 던지려고 태줘라. 유예도 녀연이와. 유예 차봉 지동코 나코노데 셀라마슬한테 통이들이 와요 보지. 다들 코 합도 가마장 하선이 코 나보체는 샤라. 아니 콜 야 다들 나보노 통야게 네바줘라. 젠도데 세네로. 뭐 대세냐 내도는 나코노 카톡도는 세던데 통나.
So yeah, so they deliberated on why this might be. So drawing from their understanding of how the visual process works, they decided that it must have to do with the rods, in that they are the ones which are active in dim light and less colorful things. So with the patch on, it was already active.
Yeah.
And it was just ready to take on.
Exactly,
When they
yeah.
went into the dark. So that's how they explained it.
Yeah, very good. And then they could more easily see the person, right? And they could find him and
They actually started their observation by saying that in terms of its working, there's no question. We empirically saw that.
Yeah.
But in terms of why, drawing from their understanding of neuroscience, that's what they
good.
could come up with.
Yeah.
맞아 무슨 두부이부디 무슨 내가 책임이 무슨 두부라 네가 대신 잡았다 유이 잡은기 있는데 내가 제당부터네 시작하는 스토스
다 견다게 던다 내가 지금 띠강랑가 삼색하려고 그래서 아주 묵긴 자치요. 자치게 아니 올 친구여서니 그 자치게 묵기 잠도 총을 단 그랬어. 자치. 자치. 아니 너코나라 도이다 아니 자치게 아니 묵기 잠도 치를 단 그랬더니 야 올도스 많이 용해다 잡을도요. 되게 안 그서 통해다 잡아.
On top of that, he thinks that when we are in the sun, he says that on top of this, he thinks that it may have to do with the pupil of the eye kind of closing.
Constricts,
Closing on, contracting.
Yeah.
Whereas when it is dark, it has to open up. That's
Right.
yeah.
That's another mechanism we didn't even talk about yet.
Yeah, this lesuidan tanda jawa yores. Thinking on the coming should be mixed laying on maris. Then tanda jawa tada yores. Tikam nebetiaris.
They could look at the people who had one on and one off, and right when they take it off, they could see a difference actually in the sun.
오늘 단다디 쇼야는 시제제 되게 감샤예와 감샤샤버디 감가오샤는 톱던 카체베 갑들 미니부터 따다 아니 미기 자문 카체 중 개발 동물이스.
So did you guys also think of problems with the experiment? What could be done better?
당기 따지 세단기 토네 따지 내내 제나 야가 용서래서야로 따지 디 세단 디 딜레제 야르 따야 요서래 세면데 누에스. 네. So one of the assumptions was that it will work only if we have had the eyes patched for at least 30 minutes or not too short.
Right.
What is the reason behind that? Why is it that the short time would not work?
Well, because previous research has shown that your this adaptation in your visual system of the rods becoming more active and the cones becoming less active, this takes some time, and it takes roughly 30 minutes. That's what research has shown. So this is what we're using.
남주 따지 쉐베 나로라 따지 제니 심주 쉐베 나로라 안담닉 세부진 이메기 통해야 되라 아니 융이로와 융이도 통해야다 뒤도 중부 대조 중부차부터 통해야다 나고다 지금 아니 지금 장당 충분 나오는 통해야디 융이 접은 데와요 코드 세고요 남주 코드 야 세야라 야 지금 중부전이 세야라 뒤주고 오고요 Indigenous.
But maybe you don't have to believe that. Maybe you would want to design
Testing.
experiments
Yeah,
to
yeah.
test that.
근데 남기에서 라바디야 라바타가 마셔지 디 소샤를 보는 거서 가래하고 따지신 하고 그래서는 따지 두 배리스.
생각을 잡아야 돼. 남아서 그냥 노도시는. 편집도 있어요. 니만 느끼는 거 아니? 니만 느끼면 혼자야 돼. 다시 그런 수준 못 되게. 그게 아니면 솔직히 너무 그거라 싸우는 건 많고 싸우는 건 차야 돼. 그런 수준.
I see. He recalls something that maybe in the biology class he heard that this has some evolutionary reasons. It's the way things have evolved over time that time is significant. In that once the sun has gone down, for it to become totally dark, it takes at least 30 minutes. And likewise is the case for I don't know how for it to revert back.
Yeah.
That's a classic
Yeah.
argument.
Right.
실화의 야고도 썼을 텐데 가서 오래 세톱기 이제 빠지です.
이자도 단단하지 까불어. 아니 왜 추님에서 나가지는 합가 바탕이잖아. 왜 추님에서 저. 아니 간디나 통토고나.
주님에서 나. Would this mechanism work with both the eyes closed for some time and let into a totally dark room? Should it work? Could it work?
Yeah, we think it would probably.
It would
yeah.
work, and you need to do the experiment, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
오늘도 공연 지낼 때인데 내가 제공을 했어. 이나야, 아주 세리고 왔어. 따지 제공. We are scientists, so we have to do experiment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
I have a question. May I?
Yeah,
May
please.
I have a question. Oh yeah, I have a question. Is the understanding that those who had the eyes patched when they went into the dark room, they were able to see it?
Yeah.
Would they stay like that for as long as they wanted to?
I think, yeah. So their eye, like also, so for them, there's not much adaptation needed because their eyes are ready for the dark. But for the ones that came from the light, if they stay 30 minutes, then their eyes will be fine. They can see.
Okay. So the understanding is for both of them, if they stay longer, they would be able to see.
Yeah.
So that means if we stay in dark, no matter even without the patch, right?
Yeah.
And as we keep on seeing, things will be clearer and clearer to us.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't you also notice that sometimes at night when you're walking through a dark place and you start to see better and better?
Okay.
You can try out tonight.
Yes. Now, Jenny, thinking is you had the me come and get to the Tongso. And me, Nagun to do what in the Desha when they Tongdon and take the best. Tongdon and take the best, can you see about? Koduta in the east. Thinking in me, Magami, you get to the Perusian and Toya go to this.
I want to add one thing to the question about covering both eyes, right? So the idea of leaving one eye open and one eye closed is that you get the best of both worlds, right? There are limitations to seeing only with the roads. So this way you have one eye that is adapted to the light and one eye that's adapted to the dark, and you practice best in both.
And the Galagi, me, Niga come the Canadian so was. Me, Niga come the Collega cigarettes. Niga Maga the chick of the chick Maga Shadugala. Dochores, Ninguno, Niga Tatik, senores. These are Korean check maris. Right? Ningun check segues, Cheduris, no wind segues, the Korean check maris. Did it.
So this will have given you at least one example of how the body adapts itself to changing circumstances, which is actually quite amazing how flexible our bodies and brains are.
Isn't deep person deep 균형을 가르치는 게 돼서 나는 류 호랑기 레주고 토네 지 콜유 내다면다면들 뚜규 제약이 가서 차지해서 오래 이유에 그러시레스 디페 섬도두가 모사케고 하시다 할래고 하시레스.
And we could still discuss for quite a while about problems with this experiment, like maybe the time was not really that accurate that we measured, things like that, but we will do that over the rest of the week.
나 다기 따지 대단 콜라 양직 비다로 단 지금 14로 단에 났는데 근데 감시도 가리 삼다요. 그러면 뒤져 가야 돼. 뒤쪽에 이직다 니진 따다 딜레 차담보다 딜레 14보다 딜레 제야요리스 딜레 제야다yan 딜레 많이 양직 다시 두당 돌아야지 첼리도 딜레 내다 용시는데 딜레 두두 제야요리스.
So in closing, we would like to ask whether some of you want to come with us so we can put all the tables back to the walls so that the next group can build their own obstacle course.
I see. Jenny, thinking of the Lamgas, mas the Lamga de Shikudos. Sen Lamga de Shik, could you say Sasojin and Yagomaris? New Dingua, New Ding, Lamgas and the Digomaris. Those Lela Tegris. Is that Pachi Kari Rangsar Shani, Charwa, Shani, any Kundalidi and Tangish Langa, one of the Candice win a surgery. Said the Chinese. Not to us.
To the check.
How to say?